Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio. Your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Hello and welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where we provide world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Our show today is A Woman's Prerogative Part 2. I'm Caroline Heward. I'm absolutely thrilled and honoured to be representing Dr. Jacalyn as your host for USA Global TV and Radio's flagship show, A Woman's Prerogative. I'm a TV presenter on the channel and I'm also the resident therapist for USA Global TV and Radio. A very warm welcome to our loyal viewers and our friends on all our usual social media platforms, which are YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and X. Today's topic, this is part 2 of our topic, Success and Happiness, Defining What Truly Matters in Life. I am joined by an extraordinary, amazingly talented coach, MARISKA. She's coming all the way from Australia, so the time zone is very different. It's Tuesday morning there, and she is the Optimist and an ICF PCC credentialed coach, which from my perspective means coach extraordinaire. She shares all sorts of extremely talented and wonderful things. She's also a Talking Heads host and expert presenter of her own show, and she joins me every Monday for A Woman's Prerogative Part 2. Let's welcome MARISKA all the way from Australia.
Hello, Caroline, and thank you for such a lovely introduction.
Well, you are coach extraordinaire. And I feel that we have some very similar feelings on lots of things and thoughts on lots of things. It really surprises me how similar we are, and yet we come from very different ends of the world. So as it's morning there, it's fairly night here, very dark and dismal. So MARISKA, for our viewers that are here for the first time, either on the live or the replay, who don't know you, can you please introduce yourself and tell them a little bit about what you do and how you help people? And maybe if you have something new to share, our loyal viewers that are here regularly, about what you are up to at the moment.
Thank you, Caroline. So I am, for those not familiar with me, MARISKA, as Caroline mentioned, and I am a leadership partner. What is that, you might be wondering? Well, I partner with leaders to bring a little bit more humanness into their space. Why do we want to do this? Well, if you are a specialist moving into leadership or a leader moving up in your leadership space, you might have found that the human element needs a little bit of finessing. It's not the same as the things or tasks that we normally deal with, and that's where I come in to help out. Of course, as Caroline also mentioned, I have quite a few talking heads that you are more than welcome to go and have a look at, with a variety of leadership-related topics that might be helpful within your space or give you a different perspective. As for things that I'm doing that's a little bit new, currently I am working on my blog, and I'm really excited about it because I have recently also started water painting. I know this is It's like, what the hell does that have to do with leadership? Well, you will just need to read my blog, because I do bring it into my leadership exploration. It's been quite an interesting journey. And something that's really off topic, and I'm hoping he behaves himself today, is I have a new cat that may or may not make his appearance. He is moaning quite loudly if I close the door, so the door's open. Just in case he does make an appearance, you know he's new. Other than that, you can get hold of me on my email address, which is mariska@journey2, the number 2, discover.com, or alternatively via LinkedIn. And with that, back to you, Caroline. How about you?
Thank you, Mariska. I love your email address. For me, you can find me and follow me on LinkedIn and Facebook. Those are my preferred social media platforms. I'm known as the Harley Street Stress Expert, and I help people bust their stress. How do I do that? I work with root cause therapy and chakra psychology. I'm also trained in many other modalities such as counseling, energy healing, NLP, which I have, I think, 2 masters in that from two different schools of training, and also many other different modalities in terms of consciousness training. I've been in this world of work for 25 years now, and I help people break through the patterns that create their repeating patterns of stress, whether it be physical, emotional, mental, or behavioral. And I help you break through the blueprint that initially started that pattern, so that elicits the awakening of your own inner peace and releases any emotions and feelings trapped because of that unexpressed and undealt with issue. I also am doing lunch and learn team meetings and team briefings around the lunchtime online, and also face-to-face in person. And I also speak on stage, and what's new for me is that I have gone back to speaking on stage, and it's quite exciting really to be speaking to live audiences. So Mariska, let's get into the topic. Let's move very swiftly into exploring success and happiness, redefining what truly matters in life. So we explored this in quite a personal way in A Woman's Prerogative Part 1. And I'd like to look at it from different perspectives in Part 2. So personally for you, when you hear the term success, what does that mean to you personally? And in this moment right now, and we're going to look at when you were younger and how that's changed, but right now, what does success mean to you personally?
Caroline, success is always such an interesting topic. As we are exploring it today, I also get to explore it quite regularly with the leaders that I work with. And for me, I think success, as you mentioned, being a child, but keeping it to what it is now, has changed. I've noticed it changing. And at the moment, I think what success looks like is the way I show up as a human being in life with others around me in life, whether that be with co-workers, whether that be with loved ones, whether that be with whoever I am with on the show, for instance, as well. So to me, that is more how I'm starting to measure success and what I think about when I think about success. So how successful do I create my relationships? How successful does it look when I just show up in life in general? And well, that's definitely not the way I thought about success or any mention of success while I were growing up or at a younger age. So it's, to me, interesting that I have now changed the way that I think about success. And I can say that I always also love exploring this with the leaders that I work with, because sometimes from time to time, I even incorporate some of these stuff into mine, which is always fun. We get to learn constantly. How about you, Caroline?
Thank you, Mariska. That was so wonderful to hear you share that. And I'd like to tag on to, because you made me think about it, that that we learn from our clients. I feel that everything is a mirror, that if there's something that's going on for me in terms of challenges that I'm dealing with, I tend to find that the clients that I attract at that time have similar issues. So, for instance, if there's family issues, then I tend to attract clients that have issues in terms of like sort of somebody's recently passed away, or there is a family sickness that that they're dealing with and not coping with. And so through the years, I have noticed that that clients tend to, and people as well, the conversations, it tends to show up something that's going on in terms of my life. And so just as much as I'm helping others, it's almost like the messages I'm giving to others is also a message for me too. And that's very much a coaching, counseling perspective in terms of success, that I hear my own messages through helping others. And I always quit by saying, oh, darn it, here we go again, another mirror. And it makes me smile, because that for me is insightful. And when I'm insightful in terms of what I'm hearing and sharing, and hearing the story of someone that I'm working with and helping through the times of their challenge. So when I was going through a divorce, for instance, I kept attracting clients that were separated and going through a divorce. And that just made me smile, because I just thought, oh gosh, I've still got some stuff to clear up on that. So from the perspective of success in terms of recognizing, and I would say that it's about awareness. I mean, conscious awareness that everything is a mirror. And if I'm responding and reacting, how am I reacting and how am I responding? And what is it that I'm hearing, that I'm giving advice and giving insights and awareness for others, is actually about me as well. And also on a bit of a sort of a little, light-hearted note, success for me right now, because I'm having some huge challenges, that there's been a lot of technical updates, because I'm on Windows on a laptop and PC, and there's been so many updates that it's driving me crazy. And I feel that getting through the technical updates and clearing through my laptop in readiness for my show is huge success for me when I just clear down. And there's been quite a lot, because Microsoft are moving to Windows 11, and there's a huge upsurge of updates. So technical things create some challenges for me, and I feel very successful when I have achieved the updates and able to carry on with my day. Mariska, what are your thoughts about my technical challenges? Do you have any comments to make about the fact that these are things that we all have to handle, whether we're working for someone else or whether we're working for ourselves? Do you have any comments or anything to share on that?
I love that you bring in those real life, in the moment, little successes too. And yes, I mean, whether it is something technical that you are struggling with, and I absolutely am, I'm with you, Caroline. I hate updates. They put things in all sorts of different places, and then I seem never to find them again. Or whether it is adapting to a new situation or a new environment. So for me, something that I feel successful about is I had a good night's sleep. With said new cat, his day and night is mixed. So he's been really awake in the evenings and sleepy during the day. So he had a tendency to want to play and run around and do all sorts of things at night when I want to sleep. So over the weekend, we were able to actually switch his day night a little bit, in so much so that now around 4 o'clock he wakes up and wants to play, which is a little bit better than the whole thing. And I mean, this is a cat. If you were to have a new child or whatever it is that is in your life, there is small successes that we can always celebrate. And it really doesn't matter. It's those small things in life that we really do need to go, okay, what would success look like right now for this one thing, this one small thing? And then just go for that. And hopefully you are able to figure out tech or have a good night's sleep.
I love it. Good night's sleep. Whoa, I'm burning the midnight oil at the moment with my accounts. So I really get the sleep bit. Let's look at exploring happiness. And what I'd like to ask is, do you think success and happiness can exist together? Can they actually go, do they go hand in hand, or are they separate to each other?
Success and happiness. Well, I think it depends on how you define success and potentially how you define happiness. That's the fun thing about words. We get to define them for ourselves, how they show up for us in life. And for me in life, yes, they do exist in the same realm. I can be successful and happy at the same time. I'm very glad that I can do both of them at the same time. And I know that there's sometimes other people that struggle with exactly that. They can't do that. So I think it is a lot about the definition of it. What would your opinion be about that?
Thank you, Mariska. From my perspective, when I was young, success was always about being seen, being out there. You know, sort of I had a big circle of friends and I was always out there and having fun and winning awards, and everything was very outside of me. It was going to something, and my diary was always full. So it was very much external to me. And now I feel that success is much more of an internal thing, that it's less about where I go and what I do with other people, and more about how I feel internally. And so I've become, I would say, I'm not introvert because I'm still quite an extrovert, but I feel that I've become much more introverted in terms of how I feel success and how I feel happiness. And so it's not so much about other people making me happy. It's about how I feel inside that makes me happy. So, for instance, I go to chanting concerts, and it's very much that you're there singing along, essentially, to mantras. And I usually float home because it's an internal feeling by just singing, chanting the Sanskrit mantra. It makes me feel inside very blissful, very happy. And I go there intentionally to chant for different outcomes. And so at New Year, I went and did a chanting concert. So I traveled all the way to London to do this chanting concert. And I set some very big intentions, some very strong ones for myself, because it was quite a challenging year for me personally in 2024. And things have moved. And it's the intention internally about how I would respond and how I would conclude as what's happy and successful. And rather than getting caught up in other people's situations, to be able to be supportive and still stand in my own space and be successful. And so that was very much an internal switch that I changed. And this January has been a very successful month for me. I've managed to achieve lots of things that I set out to do. So it's become very internal for me. So what about you? Would you say that things are different in terms of the way you look at success now as opposed to when you were younger?
I think so. So as I mentioned earlier, to me, definitely the way that I look at success is different. And I think to an extent, what you mentioned about internal and external, there was an element of internalness when I was younger, in the sense of this is something that I want to go for. Because one of the other things that I do pick up with people is we have a tendency to want to do what mom and dad wanted us to do, or that other successful aunt, uncle, cousin, whoever, right? So it's not our own. So for me, at least, I feel that from a young age, it was mine. I decided what I wanted to do and how I wanted to define success. And it still had an external element to it. So be an engineer, do this thing, do that thing. So all out in the world type of things instead of in me type of things. And I think that's the thing that changed for me, or the biggest thing that changed for me. It's more of a, well, how does it look inside, not so much outside? How am I being as a human in this ecosystem in which I am operating? How is this all working? How am I making sense of it? And surprise, surprise, I can make sense of it any way I want. I can look at the same thing and can be brilliant and epic, and I can look at it in a different way and it might suck. So it's all about me. It's not everybody else or the circumstances or whatever it might be that we want to blame for things that happen. It is about how I make sense of it and the sense that or the meaning I give it. And I think that to me is the biggest thing.
I love that, because I was going to mention to you about circumstances, because we could be very, very despondent right now. There's all sorts of crazy things going on politically, economically, financially, within the global spectrum, and also with the weather fronts. You know, we've had horrendous weather in most places globally. You know, even in the UK, we've recently had this a new storm that's come in, and there's been the fires. And I do agree with you that we can have all this external challenge, and yet it's about how we respond and how we react to it. And we could be losing ourselves in the challenge and in the emotions of what's going on within our own environment and globally. But I feel that even though there is a lot of chaos, and there is a lot of chaos globally in all sorts of fronts. There are wars, and you know all the systems seem to be falling apart. And yet, I'm having a great month, and that for me shows that, you know, sort of despite the circumstances that are difficult for many people globally, I'm still cutting through and making things work. I'm surprised at the fact that I'm cutting through the difficulties that are being experienced, even in this country, you know, where people are losing their power. I just keep saying, please help me keep my power. I'm going to be so grateful if I have my power staying on while I'm doing my broadcasts. And, you know, it's like a switch. I have my power and I don't freeze out. And it's sort of, you know, that's one of the things that I do. I practice by being very positive and by being vigilant in terms of preparing. So I've just shared with you that I'm grateful for all sorts of little things. And, you know, what do you think? What are your thoughts about gratitude in terms of success and happiness?
Oh, Caroline, I think that's sort of foundation work, or in my opinion, definitely foundation work. Because one of the things that I have found is the more grateful I am for whatever it is that's in my life, the lessons I'm learning, maybe through the stuff that's a little bit more sucky, or the things that I have and the things that I could really cherish and enjoy and see the wonder in. The more the gratefulness that I implore, the more comes to me that I can be grateful for. And doesn't that alone want us to do that more? Because guess what? The more you're grateful for, the more you'll get. It literally just comes back to you. And isn't that enough to make most people happy? So to me, gratitude as a practice, as a continuous practice, as a way of being, is definitely something that I am not a doctor, but I will definitely prescribe that one to anyone and everyone, because no matter where you are in life, it is always something that you can use to your benefit. And yeah, I know sometimes, as you said, Caroline, we have the environment, stuff happens, places burn down, places flood, our economic situations goes up and down, and all sorts of other things happen on our personal life level that I don't even know half of what might be going on in everybody's life. And there's always even a small thing we can be grateful for. So as you might have noticed, I was nodding my head. I love gratitude practices of any form, and absolutely go ahead and enjoy them as much and often as possible. That would be a successful day.
You are making me smile, and I'm going to share a silly story and a true story. I've had some technical things going on with my printer, and I really need it to be working like overtime at the moment to print off everything I need to print for these for the accounts. And it came up with a message where it had completely broken down. It said something like serious error, contact service now. And I'm thinking, no way. You're going to be okay. You're going to be really okay. I'm going to look after you. I really need you to be okay. And I'm so grateful when you work and you make everything. And I was really laboring it. And so I opened all the different hatches and I pulled out the different toners, just to give it a little bit of TLC. And I says, you're going to be okay because I really need you to be working. And it's not that serious and we're going to be okay. And I'm so grateful for you working. And you know what? I did all of that and it worked. And I've done that 3 times in the last week. And my little printer, which I've had since 2007, which is quite a big one. It's a very old-fashioned laser color printer. And a very old-fashioned one, and I can't get rid of it because it's so good. It's become my trusted computer. But the attitude of gratitude to my printer is keeping it going. And I'm not just saying that. I am meaning it. I am absolutely giving it the attitude of gratitude every time. And I'm always passing it saying, thank you so much. Another great day. So yes, I'm really in the gratitude practice, even for the small things. So
I love your story. I love that.
It's true. It really is. I live a very strange life, I can tell you. It's totally true. And if, I don't have anybody to audience me, I'm on my own and I'm kind of, with hands prayed, I'm saying, I love you so much. You're going to do this for me. I'm so grateful to you. If anybody was seeing me and hearing me, they'd probably think I'd gone nuts. So looking at balancing success and happiness, do you think that it challenges people to be trying to balance success and happiness in terms of their professional and their personal life?
It's an interesting concept, balancing. And I'm listening to the question, balance, success, and happiness. It's almost like we have this notion, and I know I had it for a very long time, that we can do the one or the other. They cannot coexist. So we need to balance them. We need to do a bit of this, and then we can get a little bit of that. So if we are successful in this thing, we can be happy at this thing, type of thing. And I'm wondering, is that really true? Is that really true? And thinking about my life, I don't think it is a either or at the moment for me. It is a and. I can be successful and I can be happy, because I get to define it. And because I get to define it, I can decide what success looks like and what makes me happy. So for me, it is balanced. I know this isn't quite answering your question, but it is the way that I feel at the moment. It's balanced.
It is. I'm hearing about the cats, and I'm hearing about the fact that you've moved to a wonderful home. You've moved countries, and you've made home work, and your business is working. It's really all the things that you would want in the recipe of happiness and success. I recently moved in the last 18 months and became mortgage free. And I can honestly say that for me was a personal success as well as a professional success. And at the same time, that did give me balance, because I now have a garden, which I didn't have for 24 years. I didn't have a garden. And it's just nice to be able to open the door to an outside. And that's an outside thing that's making me happy inside, because it's given me balance. I didn't realize how much I craved or needed an outside until I had an outside. And that was, and that doesn't mean that I'm having big parties. And I thought I would. I thought I'd have garden parties. But, there was a lot of work to do in the garden. There still is. But it was just the fact that it brought nature to me in a different way. And so that gave me an internal happiness. So yes, I agree with you. It is about balance. And, it sounds like you've got that recipe right, the success and happiness, the same as me. I used to be very external, and now it's quite internal. And at the same time, the external of my home has become my internal. So I'm an extension of it, really. I'm an extension of my home. So what advice would you give to someone who feels successful but unfulfilled? Because we're both talking about having balance and feeling fulfilled. So we've kind of got a little recipe going here. So what advice would you share to someone who feels that they are successful but they're not fulfilled?
Well, I would first ask them, what's the things they really value in life? What made being successful at whatever the thing is that they feel that they are successful in? What made that important? What's important about it for them? And why do they value that above anything else? And it might be that they don't value that, or it might be that they do value it, but as we mentioned, as we grow and as we change in life, things change for us. The way that we think about things change. So it might be that we've set up our success picture a couple of years back, and now it's different. It might be that you even set it up a couple of months back, and now it's different. It's fine. Guess what? It's yours. You can change it. So that would be my first go-to. I will find out what about it is important, and then go from there. Because for us to be fulfilled, it needs to be something that's important to us. Otherwise, really, what's the point? And then go from there. Explore it. And if you need some help exploring, I love exploring, so you can contact me.
Thank you, Mariska. And I was nodding as you were sharing that, because it is about the exploration. Because if you are successful and not feeling happy or fulfilled, which is the point that I got to when I was 36, that I felt that, sort of, is this it? and I questioned it. And then I started looking for answers in places that I hadn't even considered previously. So I started looking at Eastern philosophy and Eastern culture, because it was something that had appealed to me and come to me through different avenues. And when I was a child, I was a real keen fan, and still am, of Pooh Bear. And one of the things about Pooh is that he always had a moral, and always had a sort of a moralistic wisdom that he shared at the end of an adventure. And also Rupert the Bear was the same. There was always a moralistic, end to the adventure that he'd had. And a lot of the, I'm really showing my age now, a lot of the Watch with Mothers usually had sort of some like sort of something that brought you in to say, well, this is what the story was all about, and how can it impact you in your life, and what can you take from this? What lesson, what wisdom can you take from this? And even Mr. Ben, I'm thinking about him, and I'm naming some very old cartoonic programs that I watched when I was very young. But what I would say is that I had an interest way back then, and I had an interest in exploring, sort of the wisdom, the te and the tao, and, looking at other philosophies and other ways, rather than Eastern culture and Western culture and Western philosophy, which is very much on the treadmill, very much that you're sort of, you do everything that you're told to do, or the academia, the success, and then you're on that path. But I kind of came off the path, and I know lots of people that have come off the path of being unfulfilled in those professional careers, and then they've looked at doing other things like coaching or counselling, because they've gone to a point of burnout. So what are your thoughts about? Do you have any comments on what I've just shared? Because I've done the same thing. I kind of quit corporate, and now I'm going in teaching people in corporate about ways that they can actually live in a better way.
Caroline, I love the fact that there's this exploration. And yes, I also love Pooh Bear and all his adventures, as well as the little bits of reflection that they, even at a young age, try to help us to do, because that is how we grow and how we learn as well. So I think that to me is something it's so underused. It's almost like gratitude for some. We underutilize it, and we don't realize the power and the impact of it until we actually start to use it a lot more. So being able to reflect and think about, what is it that I actually learned from this episode, right? You guys are hearing what me and Caroline think about success and happiness, but that's our thoughts. That's my thinking about it. I don't know what it is that our listeners are thinking about it. I'd love to hear what they are thinking about it. And I would love for them to explore what they actually think about. What's it that actually happens for you in your life when you think about success and happiness? And how does it even look like? And is it the way that you want it to look like? So that is the piece that I would incorporate into what you said, because I really do appreciate that exploration piece. So good.
I couldn't agree with you more. And, we're right at the end of our show. So please, Mariska, thank you very much. It's been an absolutely wonderful exploration on success and happiness, defining what truly matters in life. And I really do feel that we've given that a good going over, and we've really explored. It's not what most people consider it to be. It's actually a very personal thing, and that's what we've shared, and I'm sure that many other people will agree. So please, Mariska, as we close out, please do share finally the best way to contact you.
So you can get hold of me via my email, which is mariska@journey2, the number 2, discover.com, as you can see down there. Or alternatively, you can also find me on LinkedIn, and there you will most probably find me under Mariska D. For some odd reason, they left the rest of my surname out. So that's the two places that you can find me and contact me for any form of exploration. And that includes, of course, if you are a leader moving into leadership or up within your leadership career. How about you, Caroline?
Thank you, Mariska. Always a pleasure to do the show with you. You can contact me on nomorestress@live.co.uk or call if you're international +44. If you're local 07523 120 189. Or you can follow me and connect with me on LinkedIn and Facebook are my preferred social media platforms. And I look forward to helping you bust your stress. Thank you very much, Mariska. It's been an excellent show. We really have explored success and happiness, defining what it truly matters in life. And we really have done that. And I think there's so much more that we could share. And so I'm looking forward to a part 3 even. Thank you very much, Mariska. And I look forward to seeing you at the same time next week. Bye-bye for now. Please do join our exclusive community and become an exclusive VIP community member, where you will get first access to our newest videos, photographs and insights of the British royal family. It's live streamed on YouTube and USA Global TV. And for that now, we are now over to our sponsors. Thank you very much for joining us if you're here on the live or the replay. And I look forward to seeing you on Monday next week at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, and 4 p.m. Eastern Time, which is 9 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. Bye-bye for now. Have a wonderful week, and I look forward to seeing you next Monday. And over.
In a world full of noise, misunderstandings, and interruptions, master the art of listening with Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck is the listening mentor of USA Global TV and Radio and the Amazon #1 best-selling author of Mastering the Power of Elevated Listening. Elevate your listening. Elevate your life. Join a global learning experience in person or via Zoom. Reserve your spot today. usaglobaltv.com/book-your-session or drjacalyn.thinkific.com. Join Dr. Kerbeck's listening courses or hire her to unlock deeper connections and authentic conversations. Have you ever felt unheard? Like your words float into a void, leaving you invisible and disconnected? How about feeling judged, when assumptions overshadow your truth, leaving you misunderstood and defensive? And then there's that moment when someone offers solutions you never asked for, dismissing your feelings and leaving you more frustrated than before. It doesn't have to be this way. Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, the listening mentor, understands. She's here to help you reclaim your voice, build stronger connections, and create meaningful conversations that inspire understanding and mutual respect. Through her groundbreaking books, online and in-person courses, and interactive workshops, you'll learn how to navigate life's most challenging interactions. Discover the power of elevated listening and transform how you communicate. Master setting boundaries and asking permission to protect your peace. Learn to recognize and release judgment, fostering empathy and true connection. Dr. Kerbeck also offers personalized coaching, one-on-one or group sessions designed to fit your unique needs. Whether in person or virtually on StreamYard, her guidance will empower you to thrive. You don't have to struggle alone. The path to deeper connections and better relationships start here. Visit drjacalyn.com or usaglobaltv.com. Join a global community of empowered listeners and transform your life. one meaningful conversation at a time. Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck is the listening mentor. Start your journey today.